Hello. Hi, everyone. Uh, my name is Jenks. I am my role is a developer advocate at Filecoin Foundation. I work in a group called Ecosystem Working Group. This group's goal is to drive adoption of Filecoin and IPFS technology in general. So in the Filecoin network, there are three important network goals, we call it. A is increasing capacity. That's why we have this training program here to encourage more people to join the network, because our storage providers, SPs, are providing the bare metal infrastructure for the network. We want more of those so that we can increase the usage of the network. These are about attracting more clients. So we have people actively working with really large data clients like New York City Open Data, NASA, all these organizations that has storage requirements to come and store, and then to put their trust into the hands of storage providers that participate on our network. The third largest network goal is actually the adoption. So apart from getting customers, getting capacity, getting customers, we want people to use it. We want people to know about it. We want developers or companies to build their solutions from ground up with IPFS and Filecoin technologies. Now that's my role. My role is to go out and talk to developers about IPFS, decentralized storage in general, but IPFS, Filecoin specifically. And so how we do that is we set up a funnel called a developer funnel, builder's funnel. At the beginning of the funnel, we want developers to learn about IPFS Filecoin technology. In the middle, we want them to have some money to be able to build their prototype a little bit more or continue with their open source project. If they are commercializable, at the late funnel, we work with accelerator and venture capitalists in this industry to provide funding. And in the whole ecosystem, the builder funnel success is at the end how many developers or projects are able to secure funding. So that's part of my role, which is very interesting. Now, I deal with a lot of developers, and when, as you can probably sense or learn right now, that Filecoin network primarily is very good at code storage, like my colleague Paul slides explained 寒冷的存储. But developers, when I speak to them, they want to retrieve the data right away, because when you're building applications, you want to store, and then you can't do much unless you can retrieve it and then store new objects and retrieve it really fastly, right? The hot storage pie is still very big. So while commercially cold storage makes sense for storage providers, we need to prepare for the future where let's say if we onboard a million user application on there, the hot retrieval demand is going to go through the roof. So that's what my topic is going to be about. I'm going to give an update on behalf of two ecosystem teams. One is Filecoin Saturn, and the other one is Titan Network. And this is an update on Filecoin's decentralized CDN network, CDN. So how many people knows what CDN stands for in this group? All right. Sarah, do you want to say what it is? Is it content something? What does the D stand for? Yes, that's a nice word. We're putting D in front of DCDN, so decentralized CDN. So, yeah, okay, cool. It's called Content Delivery Network or Content Distribution Network. Is what we're talking about, and it's very hard to build a decentralized CDN network because the requirement of CDN is quite tough. A CDN, briefly talk about that. Fiber with communications through lasers is quite slow. Takes 3 seconds from one continent to another for some packets to arrive. To accelerate that, what you can do is you bring the popular contents and distribute it globally, everywhere, where it's closer to the user. So when the local user retrieves that, it retrieves actually closer to where the data, where they live. So instantly you shorten that time, right? So content delivery network are networks that help any kind of developer or content owner, content client, data clients, to be able to put content closer to the user. This is a huge market. You need to build a system like that has a few challenges. You need to be highly secure because it's subject to abuse very easily. You need to have the scalability. You need to be optimized because you don't want to like waste your storage space for unused content. So you need to optimize what kind of content people are using dynamically all the time. There's a few challenges in there. Most players are centralized right now, and it is a huge market, 18 billion in 2022, and growing to projected to be $95 billion in 2030. Akamai, Cloudflare. Akamai is something that I used in my previous job, 2 jobs ago, and then Fastly was my last company's CDN network. They pay a huge bill to be able to accelerate websites, videos, anything, even streaming. You can optimize it. And they're centralized. What that means is when they go down, a lot of countries' network actually goes down. They're regional these days, the design, so when they go down, like probably a country is affected or certain regions. So for example, Akamai went down last year in Australia, where I lived. So a lot of banking infrastructure actually went out, not just fancy websites or government website that's for people to read information, but it turns out the FPOS machine and credit card systems also rely on Akamai to accelerate those information. So all of the shops stopped receiving payments for a day. It was mayhem. On top of Facebook outage, which people call the police about. So what we wanted to, so overall the movement of Web3 is break the centralization, right? Proprietary services and controlling by one entity. We want to end that. We want to encourage trustless, permissionless networks because it grows very fast, and I will demonstrate how later. And we want it to be open source so anyone can improve it. We want it to be faster, and most of all, we want it to survive longer. Let's say all the companies are using Akamai today, and if it goes out of business in 100 years, they will have to find something else. Now, for CDN, this kind of temporary things might be fine, but for storage, long-term storage, that's a lot of trouble. Now, the solution is we want to, in Filecoin network, we want to incentivize a CDN for Web3, and it's built from the ground up that has crypto economics to guide and grow the network. People don't have to understand a lot about CDN network to get started, but the network is designed to guide people towards the right things to do, much like the storage provider business right now that we have started. And we want to scale really quickly. We're trying to reinvent the internet here. We don't have the luxury of decades to build CDN networks and perfect it. We want to rush that. We want to rush the deployment of those nodes. And we want to build a marketplace so anyone come in and out. We don't want to manage that. And the best thing about blockchain technology is that it governs itself and everyone knows what to do. And it's designed by game theory that everyone should be doing the right thing to be able to maximize their reward or minimize their slashing. So Saturn team had the, they're from Protocol Labs. Saturn team's goal is build the world's best, fastest, lowest cost CDN, not Web3, but CDN full stop. Accelerates IPFS Filecoin content. IPFS content and Filecoin content doesn't really necessarily talk to each other unless someone facilitates the index the data and then facilitate the retrieval of it. This is the project for it. It wants to accelerate IPFS and Filecoin content retrieval, and we want to serve Web3 and Web2, and we want to unite humanity's hardware. It's a bit cheesy to say that, but the idea is that no matter what hardware you run, we can all join and provide retrieval services here, is what I mean. And democratize earning. How many of you here started a business before? Paul has, Bob has, Steph has, and Nelson has, yeah. So let me ask you, if you were to start a CDN business tomorrow to go against Fastly, Akamai, Cloudflare, how long do you think it would take? Steph? Company registration, hiring. How long?
To go up against it now would take without doing something like this, it would take a very long time.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. What's the most time-consuming part? Is it the technical build, you think, or the business part, the process of setting up a company in general, hiring?
Probably writing the software.
Writing the software.
The problem is to get to the scale that they've got. You can't build a tiny CDN now.
That's right, unless you serve a very, very niche market, like accelerate some certain IoT device in there. So, yeah, let's say fastest months to do that, right? So with the permission in Saturn network, by the way, you can scan the QR code and learn about Saturn. Their goal is to get it up and running in 5 minutes. So you can become a CDN node provider and you can earn income from it in 5 minutes. In fact, someone with technical skills can do that right now. You just need to get your Filecoin wallet address and then follow the guide to set it up. It's a Docker container that you run on your computer and can run on laptop. The level 2 is designed to run on low-end consumer nodes. So that drastically reduced the time it takes to start a CDN node, a business, you can call it. And that's how permissionless and blockchain network can grow faster, because together with crypto economics and permissionless entry, you can do that a lot faster. In fact, they have from zero, in 18 months, they grew to 4,600 point of presence. Last time I checked, it's actually 5,000, and they're serving 130 million requests per day. And the gold standard for CDN network is the time to first byte metric. So how fast you can get a certain size of the file in what kind of latency. They are able to achieve 108 a millisecond, I think, on the best. I just looked up what is a good TTFB on Google, and it says it's 200. But realistically, for a good CDN service, you need to get it down to at least 80 millisecond or 50. So they're able to achieve that in just short 18 months. Imagine building Akamai in 18 months. So that's what Saturn Network is about. You can try it now. You can learn about it, and you can get their roadmap. One thing that is not there is a lot of people will probably be looking for projections of how I can make a return of the investment. That is not solid right now. The economic design is still being discussed right now. So whatever is going on right now is temporary payouts to node runners, probably for the project to learn people's behavior so it can be better designed. But dev tooling is out. If you're a developer and would like to speed it up, it's a free CD and free to use. So along with the Saturn network, under the big umbrella of retrieval market, another project was also funded by either, I don't exactly remember who, either Foundation or Protocol Labs, is a Titan network. Now you can think of Titan network as a competing network than Saturn, or a complement network of Saturn, because if it's working on the same goal, then we consider it a complement. If they're competing and grabbing resources from stopping people from joining the network, then they're competing. But it doesn't matter. It is still a decentralized CDN, and any growth in the decentralized CDN space is good for us, because our overarching goal is to build it up and prove that this works. So what is Titan? Titan's ambition is bigger than the CDN network. They want to provide a full-fledged Web3 cloud services platform. The idea is it's so easy, and it's got SDKs for developers to use. As a node operator, you just install software. You can spin up services, compute, storage, and also service retrieval providing. And then for the users, they can see a really nice interfaces. The interfaces that Paul really wanted. They're trying to build that right now. I'll introduce them to you, Paul, later. So they're trying to win the market by having user-friendly interfaces, simple data interchange, economically efficient resource support, so it can be as cheap as possible, and most of all, it fits the operational and support model of normal businesses. So this is one of the interfaces that is being prototyped. It is called Titan Storage, so you can manage your storage node. I think this is what customers see, so how much you're storing and how much you can use. They also want to power like things like perpetual storage. They're trying to do encryption, enterprise-grade encryption on it, so businesses can trust these services. And they're building compatibility with S3, etc. So the migration process can be as smooth as possible. And virtual hosts. So I haven't heard VPS for a long time, but it turns out VPS, virtual private service, are still what a lot of business needs these days. I mean, developers likes to use new and flashy things, Docker, Kubernetes. I don't even know what that does. But by the end of the day, most businesses just need a server to run their website, like a WordPress site or Magento site to run their e-commerce. So VPS still has quite a big market. And what they wanted to do is to spin up Web3 virtual hosts, or allow SPs to spin up Web3 virtual hosts for their customers. So the customers doesn't even realize what they're on, AWS or something like that, and provide much cheaper web servers to the customers. I actually use I'm working for my kids' childcare on their parents committee. That means I do a lot of free work, and I'm considered an executive of a charity. And recently, because I know IT, and computer and IT means the same to the people that I work with. So they said, well, fix the website. So the website, I had to migrate the domain and all that to a business. And what they end up, so I checked with them. I said, well, Bluehost is selling this website VPS in this price, very cheap. And then there's Australian companies, and there's other companies that they use. They will still default to the Australian ones because they can get support from it. So people rather work with local businesses when it comes to hosting websites. So I think this Titan VPS is a good idea, but we need to see the execution of it and how well it does. And Titan is targeting not just Web3 customers. A lot of project likes to talk about Web3, likes to work with Web3 companies, but we know that decentralization is a hard sell. A lot of people do not understand the value or are not willing to pay for the value of Web3 until certain things happen, like their AWS account gets banned, or their data disappeared from somewhere, some centralized cloud. So to the customer, it should appear as a normal product. And on the back end, it's Filecoin storage provider powering all the services. So the ambition of Titan Networks team, and I heard their CMO is going to speak tomorrow, so you can get more details from this, is they want to support 1,000 Web3 projects and provide really free or no-cost services, low-cost services to them. And that's the decentralized CDN projects that is going to come out. Filecoin Saturn is already out, and Titan Network is going to come out soon. So stay tuned for that. Any questions from the audience? Because when I presented this in Korea last week, a lot of SPs just start to ask millions of questions because they're interested. Paul? Yeah, all right, yes.
How are they handling, on each network, how are they handling DNS resolution and redirection to a local node?
I do not know. Yeah, I will find out and let you know.
But I mean, at some point, right, they have to be running some type of DNS redirection for the geolocation.
Yep.
What's closer, right?
What's closer, yeah, okay. Well, there you go. My manager is doing my job for me. You provided the answer. So my understanding is you mean the routing of different content? Is that right? Serving of the content?
Table, right?
Yep.
Trying to figure out how, if you're in Australia, it knows those nodes in Australia. Like,
That's probably the role of interplanetary indexer, network of indexer, which keeps. Sorry. Getting faster.
well, I know how CDNs do it generally, but how is Saturn doing it? Same way, probably, right?
Yep. So DHT, the distributed hash tables, were slower, but over time, the performance of it has increased a lot. Like IPFS retrieval was 400 milliseconds, or even maybe 4,000 milliseconds at first, but it's getting smaller and smaller. And with Saturn's acceleration, it's getting to 100 millisecond. Great. Now, the last one I'm saving for you to look at and play with is explorer.saturn.tech. I always I used to be a front-end developer, so I like some cool front-end hacks. And this is one of them to present the data of the Saturn network. So we want to, let's check how much Singapore is earning. So Singapore is in Asia. And over here. So that's on the country level. The bandwidth served, I think it's monthly, but I need to find out what these figures are for. 16 terabyte and then 365 fill. It's either, I don't know if it's daily or monthly or like lifetime payout. But right now, monthly, every month, Saturn team is distributing a reward of certain pool to whoever serve, proportional to the bandwidth that you serve. There's also a complex matrix of time to first byte, the quality of your service, and also the lifetime. So a lifetime, like they do health checks to these nodes, and then that comes to a matrix to determine how much reward you get to take from the global pool. But this will be all redesigned in the future to have a proper sustainable crypto economics. So